What is going on, everybody? This is Everything Nerdy, bringing back another video, and you can probably see I have my desktop right behind me. You're probably thinking, two different desktops. Well, that's because the one right here is running Linux, and the one over here is running Windows 10, which, by the way, sucks. But that's for another time, for another video. You're probably wondering, wow, Linux? That's because I'm going to show you how to use and write your own piece of code that actually works for when you push a button or to get a blinking LED red light to work. Of course, my weapon of choice that is using this operating code for it to work is a Raspberry Pi 3. So if you're really interested and want to know how this works, stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to do it. So starting off the first piece of code, you're gonna actually wanna start it off. Of course, you want to copy that into Python, which is my preferred editing code. Don't mind the LED on, because I thought it was originally going to be working for an LED. But of course, you want to write this down piece of code, and once you do that, of course, once it works, of course, every time you push a button, it's going to immediately say button pressed. So when you push a button, so I'm going to go onto the Raspberry Pi and push a button, you'll see in real time as I push it that it works. And this is all running as well. All running, as you can see. And it works perfectly fine. As I do it right here, push the button, the button press works. And this is how it's all set up. So I'm going to show you how it works and how it's set up as it for this works as button pressed. The code, like I said, is right here. Also copy and paste it into the description as well if you want to write your own. And like I said, download Python. It's completely free. So I'm going to show you the whole entire setup for it to work. So down here is the, don't mind the mess, but down here, sorry for the shaky, I'm having to do handheld for this. But down here is the Raspberry Pi, which is the Pi 3, right here. And it's hooked up to this breadboard. And like I said, every time I push this button, it automatically displays it onto the screen over there. But this is how it's set up right here, and this is how I have it set up. So when you want to set it up is you want to have it both on the same terminals. So let me get down closer. So you have it at the same terminals. Come on, focus. There we go. Have it on the same terminals like that. As you can kind of see, I have one to the top of the terminal, and I have my black terminal down at the bottom next to the connector. And I'll show you the connectors of the button. Of course, it would not want to focus. The terminals right there, the 4 little pins, are what you want to connect to the black terminal, or black and red terminal on your breadboard. Right there. So when you hook it in, it should automatically connect to those buttons. So yes, it does, and I double checked on the monitor for it to work. So now on to your, it should be connected to terminal 6 and terminal 12. So 6 and 12. I'm having to do this on my phone to change it so you can get a little bit closer of it as well. So the quality and volume, mic quality might differ. But yeah, it should be connected to the GPIO board for slot 12 for the red and the black on 6 up at the top. And then of course works via the button right here. As for the LED, to get that to work, this is the code for the LED, and I know it's kind of lopsided, but there we go. That is the code for the LED to get to blink. And as I could show you right here, I did do a couple of tests to make sure I had it completely correctly hooked up. But I also have it changed to the code. I have it changed to a different variation of seconds for it to work. So I'll go show you right now. If you look into, if the keen eye of you people are paying attention, you notice that I have the constant speed changed to seconds. Of course, originally I had it changed to 0.2 seconds, but for this section I have it changed to 1 second because I wanted to change different variable speeds and see how far you can actually push this LED. For this example, I'm going to show you guys for the code. Also as well, I'll have this code also in the description as well, so go check that out as well if you want to do your own Python with a Pi and you have a breadboard and try and do your own type of setup. But for this example, I'm going to change it to 0.2 seconds like when I originally had it. So of course, with anything that you have to do, we're going to change these changing the time right here, where my cursor's at, to 0.2 seconds. Of course, we're going to save that, and then once we have that saved, we're going to click F5 to run. Of course, once we hit the run button, the run section, over on the command shell, the PowerShell, it's going to ask us how many times we want it to blink. So this one, you could leave in the comments how many times you think I'm going to blink without cheating, how many times I'm going to do it. I like to do it for at least 5 times. If you got that correct, congratulations, you just won a cookie. But I like to do that for 5 times, and it's going to do a little run check and send that to the Pi. So I'm going to go take you down to the Raspberry Pi and show you how it normally would work, how it normally looks like in this type of form. So just like the button switch press right here, it's going to be the same different setup. You're going to have this time you're going to have a transistor. You're going to have a transistor connected. And you're going to have the same type of setup, like I said, with the button. So you want to have the leads connecting to one of the connections onto the LED, and I'll put a picture as well to kind of give you a visual representation of what that looks like as well. I'm also going to give you a visual representation up on the screen on what your leads onto your connector on your Raspberry Pi should look like as well, to kind of give you an idea. So as we showed you up on the screen, I'm going to quickly show you right here. I'm going to click in here. I'm going to click F5 on your keyboard. Click F5, and it automatically wants to know how many times we're going to push it. So I'm going to say 25 times at every 0.2 seconds. Watch when I do that. It should now be blinking every 0.2 seconds for 25 times. It's going to run through its little section, blah 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 blah. 25 times. There we go. And that's how you get a simple little code to run on a Raspberry Pi Model 3. So let's go back up and I'll talk more information about it. Now with that, you can actually get your own simplistic Python code with using how to use a Raspberry Pi for coding. And like I said, it's using Raspian, which is based after Linux-based code. Of course, this is Linux, so there's going to be some limitations. Of course, there's going to be Linux Minecraft if you're doing that type of stuff, or you could even make your own. There's even, I'll have a link, or I'll have an eye pop up where somebody actually made a Python version of Flappy Bird. We all remember that game back in, what, 2013, 2012, some old years ago. But yeah, you can click the eye and go see how that's made in Python. Python is a very simplistic code to generate. It's all text-based. It's super simple, and like I said, I just showed you, and also if you go check down in the description as well, you can also see the code in its own text format. Also, if you want more information, you can leave it down in the comments, and I'll send you guys in a Google Drive. I'll send you guys the code, and you guys can tweak it yourself if you have a breadboard or a Raspberry Pi or any type of Python that's hooked up to do this type of simplistic type toy, which I like to mess around with. And it gives you kind of an experience how to get basic and, of course, basic simplistic coding. I also have an eye that should be popping up, whichever corner in the right hand corner, it should be popping up right now, this corner I believe. You can download Python if you want. It's completely free, and you could try your own, writing your own different code and running it just like how I have. So, like I said, and if you don't have a Raspberry Pi, they go around for $35, which is a completely good investment. Of course, you can get a kit for about 80 bucks, completely worth it, and that's what I have, and you can actually do your own testing and stuff like that. So I would like to know your comments and feed if you like to see these type of coding videos and more of. And if you do, leave your comments down in below, and I love to read them and stuff like that. So let me know. I like to hear you guys' feedback. This is Everything Nerdy, signing off. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.